Welcome back to Project Healthy Schools. In lesson one, we talked about SMART goals. We all set a healthy goal for ourselves. How is your goal going? Hopefully you're working towards achieving that goal. Today we're going to talk about food, and more specifically, food culture. The title of today's lesson is I Am From. So we're going to talk about food and how it relates to where we are from and what our culture is. So before we get started, I have a few questions to ask you. Think back to when you were a baby, or think about a baby. Does a baby know what to eat? And if they don't, how do they learn what to eat? Well, of course, they learn from their caregivers or their parents. The baby doesn't decide what they're going to eat. They don't really have a choice. They eat whatever the adults that are taking care of them eat as well. Now think about the rest of the world. We don't all eat the same things, so therefore all babies are not exposed to the same things. That's what we're going to be talking about today when we bring up food culture. So foods as we see normal here in the United States, or maybe in your life, are not normal everywhere else. But before we talk about food culture, let's talk just about the word culture. What does the word culture mean? Well, culture is how we live. It describes our behaviors, our habits, beliefs, and attitudes. It's affected by many things like our language, our religion, and things of that nature. So as I mentioned, today we're talking about food culture. So since we kind of know what culture is now, what do you think food culture means? What's the definition? Well, our definition of food culture is our behaviors and habits that shape how we grow, buy, prepare, and eat food. So examples that people are from the South have a shared food culture. How many people have family that are from the South? Are there some Southern foods that your family eats as part of your Southern culture? People from Eastern Europe share food cultures such as sauerkraut and smoked sausage, for example. Think of another place in the world that has a really strong food culture. And one thing to remember, food culture changes over time. As society evolves, certain foods evolve to fit that society. Do you think Lunchables existed 50 years ago? Well, of course not, but those quick, easy lunches are kind of a mainstay in American food culture. So let's think outside of America now. Let's think about world food culture. What different types of foods are considered normal around the world? For example, as we mentioned in the South, like in Louisiana, which is in the United States, gumbo and Creole are a staple food that really defines that food culture. What about Italy? What do you think of when you think of Italian food? Well, you probably think pizza or pasta. That's a big part of Italy's food culture. What about Japan? What do you think of? Well, sushi comes from Japan, and that's a big, big staple in their food culture. And we're going to talk why certain countries or certain parts of the world have different food cultures and how their environment affects what kind of foods they eat. So food culture is constantly changing, and it's affected by immigration and the sharing of different ideas. As people from other countries move to different parts of the world, they take their food culture with them, and it can affect them. There's definitely a popular Italian food in the United States. Things like climate change can change food culture because that's going to affect the environment, and it's going to affect what resources are available. And then new technology or machines that help us grow different kinds of food. As our technology advances over time, that can also affect food culture. So what we're going to do next is take a look at two distinct food cultures, and we're going to take a look at them individually and really look at the details.